Wonderful to see faces here again, and I'm glad to be back. It's this time of year that we have really good intentions about resting and taking vacations and, well, at least a break from our work schedule to do something different. This has been a particularly hard year for working parents who have been attempting to do 1, 2, or 3 full-time jobs all together for a full year. We get so wound up, it can be hard to relax. Do we even know how to rest anymore? Well, the message, or the beginning, we've got some wonderful messages through these passages that we have read today, and one message is that we need to take time and make space in our lives to rest, to relax, to heal both in body and mind and spirit. So Sabbath is important. Taking a day off from incessant work, remembering how to relax and how to play is good for our bodies and our souls. Now, back in those 10 commandments that we started with, we're given a command that is really a gift. The 7th day is a Sabbath day to the Lord your God, and you shall not do any work. Well, that's a great idea, and yet somehow it seems easier said than done. It might be difficult for you if you were raised in a house that's filled with workaholics or those competitive type A people who thrive on winning awards and accolades and keep on going no matter what. You were taught to never slow down. Or it might be that this is difficult for you if you've just made enough mistakes in your life and maybe not finished some of those responsibilities and been chastised and embarrassed and, I don't know, maybe fired. And you never want to feel that way again. So there's just no time to take off. I think we've all felt that way a little bit at some point. But at some point, we need to let go of that fear and try to relax. Barbara Brown Taylor describes the year she finally decided, after being a workaholic, that she was going to take the Sabbath rest seriously. She says, when I turned off the ringers on my phones, I spent the day in solitary pursuits. It remained a work day anyway, because then I did laundry, or I tried to write and I balanced the checkbooks, and as much as I craved true Sabbath, I didn't believe I could afford one. There's just so much work to be done. And if I did none for our one day, well, there would be twice as much the next day. But she says, once I did it, once I found that Sabbath rest, I realized that relationships become more spacious. Time itself becomes more spacious. There was enough time to get everything done. I finally realized there would never be enough time all the time to get all things done, but there would be enough time to take some space and just muster up enough gratitude that I could find. I find I can relate to her feelings at this stage of life. I can manage not to do work for a day. The hard part is not thinking about it and thinking about all the things I'm going to have to do the next day. I can ruin a perfectly good day off just ruminating on the things I'm going to have to do next day and next week and forgetting something or worrying that I'm going to forget something or that I'm going to disappoint someone or miss a deadline till I just can't stop thinking about it. So I've learned over time that rest does require some preparation. Good rest, really deep down muscle relaxing, mind cleansing, revitalizing rest might just take some preparation. I've wondered about that in the past when reading through the Old Testament, reading about the Jewish observance of Sabbath, and thought, well, people don't stop eating on the Sabbath. Someone has to cook, someone has to get things ready and clean things up. But that is exactly what they would do. They would prepare enough ahead of time so that they could not work on that day, and clean up, well, that would have to wait till another time. I found that if I can overcome my tendency to procrastinate and get as much done ahead of time, have things that are easy to eat ready at hand, it does make it a lot easier to relax, to take some time off from working, and most of all from thinking about working. So it seems counterintuitive to say that rest takes effort, but it's true, it does. And this need to prepare and to make sure that important things are taken care of, well, this brings us to the second part of this message that are found in our scriptures. And that is the truth that Sabbath rest is not a rule to be followed, but a gift to be shared. And we have a responsibility to share this gift in ways that foster health and the welfare of others, at least the others that we have the ability to influence or to assist. Let's read that commandment from our Hebrew scriptures all the way through. The seventh day is a Sabbath day to the Lord your God, and you shall not do any work, you or your son or your daughter, or your female or male servants, or your ox or your donkey, or any of your livestock, or the resident aliens in your towns, so that your male and female slaves may rest with you, remembering that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God brought you out. This tells us that Sabbath rest is not a privilege for people with enough financial stability and social power to take some time off without having to worry about the consequences. Everyone needs a chance to rest, to sleep, to share a meal, to play a game or two. So not only are we instructed to take some time and get some rest, we are told to make sure that it is possible for others to get the rest they need. Our children, the mothers of our children, our employees, our friends, any working animals that need rest from their labors. And I think it's important to notice that this also includes the legal or illegal immigrants who pick our vegetables and process our chicken, the food that we are going to eat on our Sabbath meals. Remember that you were once immigrants, and the Lord provided for you. This Sabbath calls us to help others, help them to make time and space in their lives to rest and to heal. And we are called to act with compassion. And this is the truth that Jesus has to repeat again and again. We're in our gospel story. What are Jesus' friends doing? They are picking grain for their breakfast, which apparently qualifies as work. And some fundamentalist Pharisees catch them, and they ask Jesus why they're violating this law of the Sabbath. And this one that we're reading about actually is the fourth encounter Jesus has had with these rule-conscious fundamentalists. And his response is to remind them that even their most beloved King David broke this law when he and his soldiers were hungry, reminding them there are exceptions to the rules, and the exception is compassion. The more important point that Jesus is making, again, is that this law is God's gift, and it is meant to give life. We are not slaves to the law. We are set free from our cultural slavery of work. People, their health, their welfare are more important than those rules. So now this fifth rule-breaking encounter, Jesus is in the temple, and again it's on the Sabbath, and he sees a man with a withered hand, and looking around at these law and order patrols, he asks if it's lawful to do good on the Sabbath. And they look away, a question they don't want to answer. We're told that Jesus was actually angry and grieved at their hardness of heart. And he turned to the man and said, "Stretch out your hand." And that hand was restored, and he was healed. And the Pharisees grumbled and began conspiring to kill him. As we read this from our time and our place, we want to be clear that the Pharisees in this story do not represent Judaism. They represent us. And all of our traditions or our doctrines or our absolute essentials or our personal preferences, no matter how cherished or noble or well-intentioned, anything that stands between us and compassion. So the question that our story is asking is not what was wrong with those first century Judaism. What instead we need to ask is wrong with us in our time, here and now? Are there things that we have made more important than compassion? What mixed up kind of beliefs have we deified more than love? What needs have we stopped seeing because our eyes have been blinded by our own best beliefs? The Lord has commanded us to stop working so that we can relax and heal and take time to feel God's infinite, tender love for everyone, even the animals. Now, in Judaism, the Sabbath traditionally begins Friday evening and goes till sunset on Saturday. Through time, Christianity chose to make Sunday a day of worship and rest. And many times and places, we have attempted to enforce these expectations in less than compassionate ways. But we don't stop and rest and worship God because God needs our attention. We do it because God knows we need to pay attention to those around us, and to take time to live compassionately. So in our very mobile, very multicultural world, it doesn't matter so much what day you rest, only that you make the effort to take some time and some space in your life to stop and rest and play, to heal both your body and your spirit, and take time to help others to do the same. We need a breath, we need our rest, and we need to share that gift with one another. We do that today, and hopefully this will be a summer filled with some restful, healing time.